Hey guys, let's spend a few minutes today talking about gaining mass or bulking up, putting on some muscle. Now, we're not talking 2, 3, 4, or 5 pounds of muscle or toning up. We're talking about you guys that really want to make a big change. We're talking 10 to 20 pounds of muscle. So, the first thing that you're going to need to do with your diet and gaining weight, just like losing weight, is really all going to come down to your nutrition or diet. So the first thing that you're going to need to do daily is create a calorie surplus. Hop online, find a calorie calculator. Figure out what we call your caloric maintenance, this number that keeps you exactly the same. So if your caloric maintenance is 3,000 calories a day, if you eat 3,000, you're going to stay the same. We want to gain weight, so you're going to have to build a calorie surplus into that. Possibly 400 to 600 calories per day, and that's what's going to give your body those extra calories to build that muscle that you're wanting to gain. So the next one is food choices. If you look at a lot of bodybuilding magazines, they're going to try to tell you that a lot of people did this with, say, rice or vegetables or chicken breast. And this really depends on whether you are what we call a hard gainer or not. A lot of people like myself were a hard gainer, and eating clean foods would never allow me to gain weight. So I really had to eat a lot of junk, fast food and other type of stuff that got really kind of disgusting after a while, to be able to get enough calories per day to gain weight. So I was up close to probably 5,000 calories a day, and having to do that on a consistent basis, and it got pretty tough to take in those calories, and I never could have got there with clean foods. Now, some people will be able to get there with clean foods, but for you guys that are really skinny or wanting to put on a lot of weight, you don't necessarily need to eat healthy, because gaining muscle is not necessarily a healthy thing. It's more for aesthetics or looks, so that's not our biggest concern here. So you may be able to eat those foods, fast foods and other kind of stuff, foods that are more calorie dense, and it may help you get to your goal quicker. So next thing you've got to do, 6 to 7 meals every day. Every 2.5 to 3.5 hours you've got to be eating a meal. Now, so once you've got online, figured out what your caloric maintenance is, built in that surplus, and found that number of calories per day that you're going to need to consume to reach your goal, you're going to need to spread that out somewhat evenly between those 6 or 7 meals. So we don't want an 800 calorie meal followed by a 150 calorie meal, or a big sit down meal followed 3 hours later by, say, 1 scoop of protein powder. It's not going to cut it. During that meal that you just had that 1 scoop of protein powder, you're probably going to lose what you just gained from the previous meal. You also want protein with every meal. This is how we build muscle. Any meal without, say, 25 plus grams of protein, it is really going to be useless and wasn't helping you get to your goal. You need to be very consistent with this. A meal without protein is a meal without a purpose or a function. It's not going to help you get to your goal. Now, you can do this with protein shakes as well. That's why we use those so often, because we know every meal's got to have protein with it. The next thing, post-workout shake. A big shake. If you really want to put some weight on, you need a big shake here. We're looking for a substantial number of carbohydrates, probably 75 to 125 grams of carbohydrate, along with 25 to 35 grams of whey protein, something quick digesting that's going to get in there quick and initiate that recovery process. We do this because of what's called the post-workout window of opportunity. It's that 60-90 minutes post-workout when your body is just so willing and able to take those carbs and that protein and turn it around and start building and recovering, that if we don't do this shake, we're leaving a lot of results on the table. So get a big shake, whey protein, simple carbs or sugars. Take it with you in a shaker cup, have it in the car immediately afterwards. Don't wait 60-90 minutes. Do it right away. Also, we've got to be consistent. So many people are not consistent. They say, I want to gain weight. I eat a lot. I eat all the time. Well, how many calories do you eat in a day? If you don't know how many calories you're consuming, then you just, nothing is going to help you. So you're going to need to record those calories and figure out where you're at, and assess and evaluate your diet. You can lift all the weights in the world. It's not going to do you any good unless we give your body what it needs to build that muscle. So it's about consistency. If you are to overeat 4 days of the week and then undereat 3 days of the week, the net result of the week is maybe 1 day worth of gain. you're never going to get anywhere. So it's about being consistent, even if you don't feel good. Even if you were out partying the night before, you need to get up, you need to eat. Whatever you've got to do. Last thing is avoid most supplements. This will only, reading these advertisements and studying and spending time figuring out what these supplements are, only detracts and takes away from you learning things that are actually going to matter. Don't really consider protein powder a supplement because it's just a staple. It's part of your nutrition plan. It's part of your diet. So above and beyond that, maybe a creatine, maybe some fish oils, a multivitamin. Most everything else out there is not going to provide anywhere near the amount of results that just a good quality protein powder will. So don't waste your time studying them, reading the advertisements, or spending your money on them. Most of your money needs to go to meal replacement supplements and protein powder. Above and beyond that, if you want to spend the money, go for it, but most of it's going to be a waste. So follow these things and bulking up is going to be much easier to do.